Okay, hello and welcome to How to Gain Free Publicity During COVID-19. It's so fantastic to have you here today. We are in changing times, of course, right now, and it's been a very tumultuous few months since the lockdown and social isolation, etc. However, during this time is actually a great time to get publicity because the media are looking for stories every single day, and your X factor is your story. So thank you so much for joining me today. What would happen, just imagine, to you or your business if you were interviewed on Sunrise tomorrow? And feel free to pop in the chat. What would happen to you or your business if you were interviewed on Sunrise tomorrow? Or what if the Courier Mail or the Sydney Morning Herald did an article about you? What would happen, do you think? Or what about if Oprah's office called you and asked if you could be available for a show? Now, what happened to Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad? He actually appeared on Oprah on the 27th of April 2000, 3 years after he wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And at the end of the 1 hour show, Oprah turned to him and said, "Congratulations, Rich Dad. We've just sold you 1 million books." Now, at the time, Robert was making $5 per book. So that's $5 million that he just made at the end of a 1 hour show. Now, of course, that's Oprah. Not all media is as big as Oprah. However, the fact is, just by appearing, for example, in your local free newspaper, you're reaching hundreds of thousands of people, or in your local radio. So it's amazing what can happen with just one media appearance. It can pivot everything for you. Now, this is all possible for you. You know, a lot of people who come to me, they have a bit of trepidation initially about putting themselves out there. You know, generally fear comes up for people. And if this is you, feel free to pop in the chat. If you have had any fear at all around getting publicity, it's quite natural because for a long time we've been taught to be seen and not heard, right, as children. And you know, there is this sort of glass ceiling in Australia where, you know, people are not encouraged generally to step up. And it's a whole different culture in America and some other parts of the world. But in Australia, we seem to have an issue with it, a lot of people, right? And I'd say the fact that you're on this webinar right now is a fantastic start. And it's obviously something that you've possibly shifted or are shifting right now to maybe it's time for you right now to step up with your message and actually to be seen and heard. Now, we are in unprecedented times, as I mentioned at the moment, but content consumption actually is up 60% right now during COVID, which is interesting. And it's actually a great opportunity for you to make the most of that now and put some great content out there. Also, now this is a very new stat that's just come out from a Digital 2020 Global Overview report, that we actually have 3.8 billion of the world's 7.8 billion population now active social media users, which is very exciting. So the whole world of the media has changed rapidly just in the last 15 years or so since we've seen social media come out. And what's happening with mainstream channels now is that they all have very big social media followings and also have very big followings on their websites. So now what's happening is when you get traditional media coverage, such as TV, radio, print, which is what we're going to be talking about today, mainly, when you get that coverage, you're also able to leverage that because you're reaching audiences on the media's social media channels as well as their websites. Because often what will happen is when a story appears in traditional media, they get shared onto the social media and get shared onto websites. So it's actually now, this is the mass media world we're looking at. And the other beautiful thing about this is that journalists every single day are looking to social media for story ideas. So never underestimate the power of actually putting some interesting content out on your social media. And what we're starting to see now with mainstream media too is that oftentimes they will say, you know, comment on Facebook or comment on Twitter on what is happening on traditional media, on traditional TV or in radio, etc. And so they're often live streaming comments straight to the show, like in Q&A and certain shows like that. And so it's really important to seize those opportunities when you see them. If the media are doing a call out saying, put your comments in, that's a fantastic opportunity right there to get free publicity. You know, often if I'm listening to a radio station and a radio host says, says, call in and talk about whatever, right? I will often call in and talk about whatever, because often, you know, particularly in the early hours of the morning with those kind of talkback shows, it's a great opportunity to just shoot the breeze on whatever is on your mind. And another great opportunity is actually letters to the editor of print media. You know, as a journalist for many years, believe it or not, the editor would often ask the journalist to write letters to the editor, because often there weren't enough letters to the editor that were actually coming in from the public. So often we would have to write letters to the editor to fill that section because people weren't utilizing that for free publicity. Now, I do have 36 years media experience. I'll just cover a little bit about my background here. I was actually interviewed by the media at age 10 for table tennis, and my fascination happened there. I represented Australia for 6 years, actually. And, you know, thankfully I had table tennis as a release, because I was quite an angry child being born in the Northern Beaches area of Sydney. And it was, you know, I actually got bullied quite a lot as a kid, and I never felt that I belonged. I never felt I was seen or heard as a kid. I felt invisible for a long time. And I was angry about things like animal cruelty and, you know, things I saw around the place that just, you know, the news. My dad would constantly watch the news every single night, and it was just depressing, you know, and I just got angry. And, you know, thankfully I had a release with table tennis. And then later on, I found the media as a great release as well. I was on Cartoon Connection on Channel 7 at age 11, and I also had my first TV presentation training also at age 11. So that was with MLC Junior Sports Foundation, which also sponsored Joanna Griggs and Jeff Hugel. And I remember on Cartoon Connection at age 11, I remember the host saying to me in the Sydney studio, "Don't think about the 2 million people watching this right now." So, of course, I freaked out. I thought about the 2 million people watching this right now, and I froze. I completely froze. But what they did have in the studio was they actually had a table tennis table, and my brother and I, we just kept doing forehand to forehand. If you've ever seen people play table tennis, you know, we just, that's how we train. We just always forehand to forehand, and we just kept that ball on the table, and it blew people away. You know, we didn't think it was anything special, but they loved it on TV. It was a great visual for TV. And the other thing is that often you'll be doing things in your business, or you might have done things over and over again that you don't think is anything spectacular, but someone else may look at it and say, wow, that is amazing. You know, but often we're too close to what we do to actually see our brilliance, to see, you know, what is extraordinary about what we do. We're too close to our own stories often to see that. So, and the thing is, your X factor is your story. You have a unique story, and the media wants stories every single day. So if they don't know about you, you might be feeling right now like the world's best kept secret. Then I went on and I did a radio show with Radio Manly Warringah at 13. I did a media degree in Canberra, University of Canberra, and got high distinctions in TV production and photojournalism back then. So I was quite an astute student as well. And then I also edited the university newspaper called Curio, and we put that out every 2 weeks. Back then we had about 30 contributors, and I would write stories about things that I saw in the community that upset me. So, for example, I remember seeing a story about duck shooting. I saw a documentary about it, and I couldn't believe that people were shooting ducks for fun. And I remember doing a story about this, and the headline was "Go and Get Ducked," right? So it was pretty in-your-face kind of press. We had stories about female circumcision. I did stories about recycling, about protecting the environment. I did a story about battery farming of chickens. I couldn't believe that 4 chickens on one A4 size paper was how it went in battery farmed areas. And ever since that, I bought free range eggs, not battery farmed, not cage eggs. So just raising awareness about things like that. So I found the media a great outlet to actually help share stories and help impact the world around me with things that I saw in the community that I was passionate about. And then I did my first media training in 2000 and had repeated calls for more. I've since worked in all types of media. I started my media business, AA Expose Media, in 2002. So the strategies I'm going to show you today work for any media anywhere in the world. I have had stories in radio, TV, and print all over the world for myself and my clients. It doesn't matter where you want to go with your message. The process of getting publicity is the same. I freelanced for magazines in Jetstar magazine was in Singapore, Excel magazine in Singapore as well, went out to 25 countries, M magazine in South Africa. And I've also had the great fortune to interview stars. These are some of them here. Also Charlie Sheen, Jewel, Vanilla Ice in LA in the last few years as well. And there's a few things all these stars have in common. They were once upon a time the world's best kept secret. Do you feel right now that you are the world's best kept secret? Just feel free to pop a yes into the chat if you feel that that's you. And if you are the world's best kept secret, it's not that you don't have a great story or have a great message to share. It's just that the media don't know about you. Just like all these celebrities at one point were all the world's best kept secret. Now, the other thing that all these people have in common is that they're really passionate about what they do. And they stuck with it regardless of the money. And if you think about what you're doing right now in business, are you really passionate about what you do? If money wasn't an issue, would you be doing what you do right now? And this is something really to look at, because life is short. You know, they say a third of people die by the age of 65. You know, I've lost about 9 friends myself just in the last year, and most of them under the age of 60 from cancer and from heart attacks and different things like that. You know, life is short, so you want to make the most of it and seize the moment. So that's another thing they all have in common, is they're passionate. Another thing they all have in common is that they have somebody else representing them to the media. Now, you don't have to do that, but it does look better if someone else is saying you're fantastic to the media rather than you saying you're fantastic. And the last thing they all have in common, apart from, now I'm not sure about their cocaine use, but someone did say once at a seminar that they all take cocaine. I'm not sure about their drug habits. However, the other thing they all have in common is they have hardened themselves to criticism. And this is the thing, if you're going to step up in the media in any way and speak your mind about certain things, there's always going to be people that are going to agree with you and disagree with you. There's going to be people that love you and people that hate you. I mean, let's just look at Donald Trump as a perfect example, right? There's people that love Donald Trump and people that hate him, right? So that's the thing, is you need to stay true to yourself, stand in your truth, so that no matter what anyone says, it doesn't matter, because you're coming from your own loving space. You're coming, you know, speaking from the heart. You do need to harden yourself, and you need to stand in your truth so that you survive as you keep building your profile. Because, you know, there is things like cyberbullying that happen sometimes, and, you know, you're going to have people that are jealous and all that sort of thing. So you just need to be okay with that and stay with your truth and with your message, I believe. Now, nowadays, we've got the whole world of online TV shows, of podcasts, of course, are huge. Now, I've got Media Queen TV on my YouTube channel. I've had tens of thousands of views across all my shows. I've got about 400 videos now on YouTube. And one guy I interviewed a few years ago, actually 2016, was David Icke. And I'm not sure if you know of David Icke, but one interview he did recently with London Real about the COVID situation, about the truth behind COVID, or some alternative points of view to what we've been seeing in the mainstream media, had about 10 million views in a week. So this guy has just gone absolutely viral with his beliefs and his comments. And, you know, 25 years ago, when he started out doing what he's doing, which is revealing great secrets to the world, there was only 20, 30 people that would come to his events. Now he has thousands. So it just goes to show that when you stay true to your beliefs, what can happen. And then Tech Webcast is a show that I've been co-hosting for a few years now with 2 guys from Melbourne and 1 from America who I've never met. So that's the beauty to a podcasting, is that, you know, you can be on other people's shows and share interviews with people quite easily nowadays, and collaborate with the world of the online media as well. So let's look at the cost of advertising. Now, if you're watching this right now, have you spent money on advertising? I'd love to hear from you in the chat as I'm going through these figures. Have you spent money on advertising? That's traditional advertising on TV, radio, or print. And if so, how well has it worked for you on a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 is it's worked brilliantly and 0, it's been an absolute waste of money? And also including your digital advertising. How well has advertising worked for you if you have advertised? Now, of course, people are doing like Facebook advertising or Instagram or YouTube advertising. It's very interesting to see that still I'm finding that not many people are getting great results with their advertising. Now for TV, for a 30-second spot on TV, you're paying $25,000 for ads during high rating shows. For radio, a 60-second spot is $500 roughly. And people don't just do one spot, do they? They do multiple spots. So they're spending thousands of dollars, sometimes tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars on advertising. Magazines, a full page color ad in a magazine is $4,000. Newspapers, you're looking at $10,000 for a full page, up to $100,000 for a wraparound ad around a whole newspaper. And then yellow pages, for anyone who's still doing it, $30,000 plus for yellow pages advertising. And then of course there's digital advertising, as I said, and you know, people are putting money there. So how is it working for you right now if you have been spending money on ads? All right, so why free publicity? Now, I do not encourage people to take out advertising. I am all about getting organic traffic and about building a profile with free publicity. Why free publicity? Well, apart from the fact that it's free, it's worth 3 to 8 times more in value than advertising. So when we look at the value of publicity, we times it, say, by 5 for how much you're paying for ads. And that's the value of publicity. So for example, if a full page ad is worth $4,000 in a magazine, then a full page story in a magazine where a journalist is reporting about you is actually worth, say, 5 times is worth about $20,000 roughly. You build credibility, trust, and celebrity status like nothing else through publicity. And trust is huge now, especially with a lot of scammers online and offline. Trust is really, really important. And celebrity status, you're appearing in media where other celebrities are, so you automatically have that celebrity status. Also, you can target your message to your ideal clients with publicity. You can target media directly to where your ideal avatar or client is going to be. So, you know, really with the world of media, there are literally hundreds of thousands of media outlets out there. The sky is the limit with it. And you could get overwhelmed if you think about all of that. However, if you just look at targeting a few specific media with your message, then you will maximize your efforts with least effort, you'll maximize your results. Also, you'll naturally increase traffic, leads, and sales to your website. You'll increase your expert status, so you'll be known as an influencer and authority in your field, and you'll automatically have more sales as well. Now, also story views versus ad views, there's 22 times more views of stories versus ads. And if you think about how you consume the media, when you're watching a TV show and ads come on, what happens? What do? Do you switch off? You switch off when the ad, yep, you might go to the bathroom, have a cup of tea, you switch off, right? And people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on ads, tens of thousands of dollars. And then radio, often with radio, if you hear an ad, what do? You switch channels, right? You might switch channels, you turn off, change the frequency. Yes, so that's what we tend to do. So we just switch off. So you can stop wasting your money now on advertising. The beauty is media needs your story. Journalists need your story. So when we're looking at mainstream media, there's 2 main areas we're looking at. We have the newsroom, which is where the journalists are, and we have the advertising section, the sales section, right? Now, if you go to the media with a story that is too commercial, they are going to say, go and take out an ad and spend thousands of dollars, right? And so this is where it's really important with the process I'm showing you today to have a really good angle to promote to the media so that the journalist is going to want to cover your story. And it needs to be presented in a professional way so that you're not wasting their time. It's got to be something that's going to be helping the wider audience. I'll be giving you a few ideas today on how to come up with a good angle for yourself for the media. every day they need ideas for new stories. So for example, I worked with News Limited papers and Australian Provincial Newspaper Press for about 15 years in Mackay, Coffs Harbour, Toowoomba, Ipswich, Brisbane, Gold Coast. I was at the Gold Coast Bulletin in 2000 and then I left in 2005. Now in 2000, when I was working as a journalist at the Gold Coast Bulletin, what happened is there'd be 2 editorial meetings every single day. And the editor would come together with all the top journalists and would say, okay, what stories have you got for us today? And we'd have to come up with 3 stories every single day, Monday to Saturday, with all the different journalists. And there were about 10 there at least. We'd have to come up with some fresh story ideas of people in the local area doing great things. And you know what? Sometimes that was really, really challenging, because even though we got hundreds of press releases that would come our way every day, a lot of them would just end up in the bin because they weren't newsworthy and they weren't relevant to what we were doing. You know, we get press releases from Perth, for example, and you know, we're a Gold Coast publication. We want to know what's happening in the local area, not what's happening in Perth or happening overseas for that particular media. So that's where getting your messaging right for the media is really important. The opportunity is huge with this. And also now more people going online with their stories, there's an increasing gap that needs filling. And also journalists are really, really busy. So you want to be looking at how you can help the journalists. You want to look at building relationships with the journalists so that when they're looking for an expert in your field in future, they come to you. Once they know about it, and this has happened with quite a few of my clients where they've been on TV, and then when the TV has wanted to do another story on that topic, they've gone back to that client because they now know about them. They're no longer the world's best kept secret, and now they get the publicity. Now, what are you passionate about? I'd love to hear from you actually in the chat. What are you passionate about? For me, I'm really passionate about good news and sharing more good news stories in the mass media. You know, for years, I actually had depression. You know, my dad used to say to me, anger is danger. And so I internalized my anger for a long time, and I actually had depression, and I've had 4 friends actually take their own lives before the age of 45. And research actually shows us that about 1 million people worldwide take their own lives. And I think a lot of that has to do with the media that we consume and the media that we put out there. Now, sure, when you listen to the mainstream news, a lot of it is negative initially, right? However, there's actually a whole lot of positive media out there now that you can share your stories in. We've got Huffington Post, we've got MSN, we've got news.com.au, all have good news sections. We have the Good News Network, we have Sunny Skies News, we have a happy newspaper in the UK that went viral. Right, so there's a lot of positive news outlets that are now are coming out, and a lot of opportunity for you to share positive stories. And even the mainstream media, you will occasionally see a positive story. So the main thing is to look at the news objectively and not actually just believe everything you hear in the mainstream media. And I can tell you, as a journalist, there were times that the editor would ask us to get angles on stories that weren't there. Okay, so I can tell you definitely from someone who's worked in the media that there are hidden agendas that happen with certain media, and they will try to push a certain angle across or a certain point of view. So I encourage you to look at things with an open mind and always do your own research on what you are listening to. I mean, it's interesting around COVID, there's all sorts of other angles going around on COVID at the moment. What's really going on behind the scenes with COVID? Some people say it's more about control than it is about health. It's very interesting. So I encourage you to do your own research on that and look into it. What are you passionate about? Whatever it is you're passionate about, the media will be wanting to hear about that. Now, in line with my passion for good news, I started a Good News Day on the 8th of the 8th, 18 to help inspire more good news in the mass media. And with my animal work, I'm a passionate animal lover, and for years I was very upset with any animal cruelty that I saw, and I felt that I couldn't do anything to really make a difference in that area for a long time. And you know, I watched an Earthlings DVD. Have you seen the Earthlings DVD? It's a very powerful documentary. Earthlings, it's actually on YouTube, I believe. Earthlings, it's all about how humans have treated animals over time, how we've used them for food, clothing, scientific research. And literally at the end of watching this documentary, I was holding my throat and crying. I was so so upset by what I saw, and I thought I have to do something about it. I felt this prompting, like an urge, like I have to do something about this. And if you think right now about what you're passionate about, do you have the same kind of feeling? Do you feel sometimes like you really want to make a difference, whether it's, sex slaves or child abuse, or, whatever it is that you're passionate about? Is there a part of you that feels you want to make a difference in that area? If there is, then I highly encourage you to look at how you can align what you're doing to help support a cause in that area. With the animal action events, I started the world's first Animal Action Day in 2007. I've since done 13 annual events raising awareness, appreciation and respect for animals, and aligning with different causes every single year. Now that's something I've done. I had about 30 performers and speakers at some of these events. It was a massive thing to put together. I'm not saying necessarily go and create your own event, because there's a lot of work in it, but you could align with a charity that currently supports something you're passionate about. So I highly recommend look at that, because the media are always looking for people who are doing great things for the community and who are contributing with a cause. What are you passionate about? Okay. I'm just going to have a look at the chat. I do want to see what you're passionate about. Let's have a look at what some of you are putting in here. Okay. Okay, so a few people spent money on advertising, hasn't worked too well by the look of it, didn't get much out of it. Yes, that's normally what I hear. Normally what I hear is about 1 in 4 people who spend money on advertising actually say it's worked really well for them. That's about the stats, and same with digital advertising is what I'm finding on that one. Okay, so here's some of our passions here. All right. Welcome everyone, welcome. So good to see you all here, and I do encourage you to connect. John says, I think clean and healing water is the best kept secret. Yes, absolutely, water is essential. Okay, so what are you passionate about? If you haven't popped in there, I'm just going through all these chat. Okay, so Jacinta's passionate about family, the arts, children, nature and animals. Beautiful, Jacinta. Julie, about helping people find their calm, helping families live without abuse. Nice one, I like that. Live without abuse, beautiful. Abigail, passion is empowering people with understanding their mind and how it works. Emotional sustainability, I think, satiability, is it? Emotional satiability, wellness and inner peace. I think that's what that's to say. Thank you, Abigail. That's great. Adrian, passionate about health and well-being, bringing more consciousness to the world, writing, body surfing and playing the didgeridoo. Beautiful. That's very nice. I do body surfing as well, Adrian, actually, and I play the ukulele. Maybe we could have a jam sometime. Okay. Earth Things was deeply disturbing. Yes, it was, John. Proudly vegetarian, Adrian, for 20 years. And look, each to their own. I'm not a full-on, like, you have to be vegan. I'm not like that. Each to their own when it comes to that. But, I think, my big thing is if you're going to kill an animal, kill it humanely and quickly. Don't let animals suffer. That's what I don't like to see. So each to their own on that one. Miriam's passionate women being healed and whole from the inside out. Nice one. Nice. John's passionate about having clean water source. Yes, very important. Jenny, disability, equality and self-care. Beautiful. Tula, mental health and well-being, using the power of the mind to recover from illness. Nice. Tanya, clean living and bringing our 3 kids up to be the best they can be. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. That is awesome. Some beautiful causes there, and there would be charities, I would say, with all those things that you could support, that you could look into and look at aligning with. Okay, so we've got 3 steps to publicity we're going to cover today. The first is, what is your product? Okay, what is it that you want to promote? What is your product, or what's your awesome? What is it about you that people say, wow, that's amazing about you? John says Kangen water. Yes, 7. Actually, I use Kangen water too, Adrian. It's brilliant. I love the Kangen water. Product. Okay, what is your product that you want to promote? This is really crucial to have a think about. What is it that you want to promote right now? And there's probably many things that you could promote, but what right now is the priority for you to promote? Okay, what product or service do you want to promote or sell? And what's your story? What is it about? When you tell people a bit about your story, they say, wow. Okay, and often, as I say, we're too close to our story to see what our story is, but a great place to look is, where have you had some hardship in the past? And how have you overcome that hardship? Okay, that's one great question to ask. Another one is, if you're in business, why did you choose to start the business you're in? Another thing to look at is, if you're passionate about a cause, why is it that you're passionate about that cause? Often it'll be something from your past where you have some kind of affinity. So for myself, I saw a sheep get slaughtered when I was 6 years of age in Turkey in front of me, and it absolutely horrified me. And I really connected with animals from a very young age, whereas some people don't connect on that level, you know. So everyone's different and how they respond to things. So what's your story? What are some things maybe that have happened in your past that have led to what you're doing today? So for example, Stephen Esser is a guy that I worked with. Now with Stephen Esser, we had a few different ideas that we came up with in a media consultation together. Now, Steve had gone to some different PR people. He had no publicity whatsoever. So we sat down, we did an in-depth consultation. And what we came up with, Stephen, now he's known as the webinar guy. Part of his story is that 5 years previously, he was a panel beater in the western suburbs of Sydney. And 5 years later, he's now a multimillionaire. So how did he do that? Another angle for him and what he was actually looking to promote was he was doing free events across Australia and New Zealand called Web Business Breakthrough Events that were helping offline businesses go online. And so we had a press release around that about giving people strategies on how they can take their offline business online. And then the third angle is he created some software that helps automate webinars. And so now we have a technology angle as well. So that was just 3 angles we came up with for Stephen. Now, the media can be overwhelming, and you might feel sometimes like this little Tweety bird on the right-hand side here. You know, sometimes it feels with social media language, you know, that there's chirp, chirp, there's hashtags, there's lols, there's ats, there's all sorts of, you know, different kinds of language going on with social media. And this little Tweety bird saying, what the fudge is going on out there, right? What the fudge? So if that's you, don't stress, because the beauty is when it comes to publicity and getting journalist attention, you actually need to craft your story as if you're speaking to a 14-year-old. Okay, so you need to keep things very, very simple with your languaging. Very simple, like you're talking to a 14-year-old. And I'm sure we can all do that, even if the 14-year-old sometimes grunts back, right? So, and now what you then need is to package it up. Okay, so part of your product, once you're clear on your angle and the story you want to promote, you need to package it up. You need a press release, you need photos, and you need to pitch it effectively. Now, you can get publicity without a press release. However, you take the chance of the media getting the facts wrong. Now, they may still get the facts wrong with a press release. However, you want to make life easier for the journalists. So you need a well-crafted one-page press release. You need to get straight to the point of whatever it is you're talking about in the first few paragraphs, because if you don't get the media's attention in your headline and in your intro, you will lose them. You will lose the journalists. They are incredibly busy people. There's a 5-year burnout right now with journalists. 5-year burnout. That's how stressed they are. Okay. Now, when I started working at the Gold Coast Sun, we had 2 newspapers at the time a week that were coming out. In 2000, there was the Gold Coast Sun and the Hinterland Sun. And I was doing 5 stories a week at that point as a journalist. By the time I left the Gold Coast Sun in 2005, we now had 5 newspapers. We had an upper north, a north, a central, a south, and a tweed edition with no extra journalists. Okay, so can you imagine the stress? I went from 5 stories a week to 30 stories a week. If I'd stayed working as a journalist, I definitely would have burnt out. And this is what you're dealing with journalists. They're incredibly stressed. So, so when you're pitching to journalists, you need to be specific and to the point. You've only got 45 seconds to get the journalist's attention. You need to be very snappy with your pitch, straight to the point, no waffling, right? And there's certain times of the day that are good to pitch to certain media as well. So that's something to keep in mind, which I don't have time to go into all the details of that, but you need to be thinking about that. But in general, when you're pitching, ideally before lunchtime is a great time to pitch, because by the afternoon, they are getting incredibly stressed on deadline. So keep your pitches to the morning in general. Obviously, if you're pitching to a radio host and they're online at the time, don't pitch while they're online, right? You want to pitch after their show. And then photos and visuals are really important no matter which media you're going to, whether it's TV, radio, or print. You need to be thinking visuals at all time, because even with radio now, they're putting the stories up on their website and they want photos to go with that, right? So always think about photos and visuals and how you can make your visuals exciting. They also need to marry up with your press release and with your story and angle. You need something relevant. You need relevant photos. You need high resolution photos if you're going to be sending photos across. Or with TV, you need to think about talent and visuals. Now, talent is maybe other people in your industry that could also comment on your topic. So always think visuals, okay? And then of course the pitch. So they're absolutely crucial. This is the foundation for your media campaign. It's like building the foundation of a house. You need to get these points right before you move forward. Otherwise you could potentially burn bridges, and once you burn those bridges, then you won't be able to recover them, right? You want to really build those relationships with journalists. And once journalists know that you know what you're doing, they will love you and they'll come back to you. And, you know, there was one PR agency actually on the Gold Coast when I was working as a journalist. When I was stuck for stories, I would call up that agent and I'd say, what stories have you got for me? Can you help me out? And he would often go, yep, we've got this, we'll get this photo shoot, we'll do this. And it was fantastic. You know, he got me out of the hole a few times. I absolutely loved him. And of course that was a win-win for everyone because it helped his clients. But of course we needed the good angles, right? Needed to be non-commercial, needed to be angles that are helping the wider community. That's what the journalist is looking for. How are you helping the wider community with what you're doing? And then target your message to the right media is crucial. So you might want to think about a hit list of media that you can target, okay? So you might want to even just think maybe, okay, what are 3 media outlets right now where your ideal avatar or client is often consuming that media? Is it a certain TV show? Is it a radio show? What is it specifically? Now here's some campaign idea joggers to get you thinking about an angle for your own campaign. The first is you can provide a unique solution to something. Do you have a unique solution to a problem or to something that's happening out there? Have you won any awards? If you've won any awards, this is a great way to get publicity as well. Controversy. Now, I love controversy. If you've been seeing any of my social media posts lately, you will see there's been a little bit of controversy going on. Now, as I mentioned controversy, if I just say the term vaccine, okay, now vaccines, now people get very passionate about vaccines. There's people that absolutely love vaccines and there's people that hate vaccines, okay? So whatever it is, if you can get people talking with whatever it is you're doing, the media actually love that. The media love to cover stories that are getting people talking, okay? Whether you're pro or anti, whatever your opinion is. I mean, personally, each to their own with their opinions. I do encourage you to do your own research so you can make informed opinions about things. But what is controversial in your industry? What is in our water we've mentioned here? Well, fluoride is controversial, right? Fluoride and chlorine in the water supply is something that gets people talking as well. What is controversial in your industry? And feel free to pop into the chat so we can all share there. What is controversial in your industry that you could possibly talk about? What is it that's getting people talking right now in your industry? New statistics. Now, statistics are fantastic for media. A great place to go for statistics is the Australian Bureau of Statistics if you're in Australia. ABS, Australian Bureau of Statistics, have some great stats. And also, of course, Google has all sorts of new statistics. I just gave you one today on the 3.8 billion social media users now, half the world's population on social media. I just gave you one today I just found the other day online. So new statistics in your industry you can use in your press releases, because just because it's on Google doesn't mean that the media are aware of it, right? There's a lot of information on Google. It's a matter of you actually bringing that information together in a succinct package and making the job easier for the journalists. Now, journalists do also talk quite fast. Okay, now hopefully you're keeping up with me because I do tend to talk quite fast. And this is how they work. This is how they roll, is that they have a sense of urgency about them because they're constantly on deadline. It's go, go, go in the industry. So when you're pitching to journalists, I suggest if you talk slowly in general, I suggest try to speed up your pace a little bit, because if you're too slow, the journalist is just going to want to get off the phone with you. Okay, so you need to be snappy with your pitches. Okay, current commentary. What can you comment on right now? Now, we've got COVID going on, of course. Do you know the media are doing call outs every single day looking for people and how they're dealing with COVID? How are you dealing with COVID right now? How are you coping in your personal life, in your business? What are you doing right now with COVID going on? How has that affected you just in the last few weeks, for example? So current commentary. You could be the underdog in something. John's ignoring it. Well, that's the thing, is we can't control what's going on out there in the world, but we can control how we respond, right? Well, you can impact what's going on in the world with getting media. You can definitely impact it. You can't control some things, right? The hero angle, you can have a 0 to hero angle. Now, I often say life is like a roller coaster ride. Sometimes you feel like you're at the top of the mountain or top of the roller coaster, and then there's times you just go down really fast, right? And you're at breakthrough time, and then you might have a breakdown, and you come right down the bottom, and then you might come back up again, and then you might go round and round in circles, right? Sometimes you feel like it feels like you go round and round in circles. Sometimes you feel like you're going backwards on the roller coaster ride. But the main thing is just to stay strapped in on the roller coaster ride of life and look at all of those breakdowns as learning experiences that can then become breakthroughs. I do believe that there's always a silver lining with every cloud. And it's all about how we look at things, right? So what is your hero angle? What is something you've overcome in your life that could be a great story? A celebrity angle. Okay, now if you have a celebrity that supports your cause, the media love that too. Now, I mentioned earlier, what are you passionate about? Now, often you'll find if you align yourself with a charity, if it's a big enough charity, they will have celebrities that support that charity. And you could potentially get access to celebrities through the charity itself by their celebrity supporters. Of course, you'd need to go through the right channels to get that checked, but that is one thing you could do, is look at having a celebrity to endorse or support your cause and align your business and your message with that. And then picture opportunity. You might have a sort of average story, but if you have good visuals, you will get a good run, because the visuals are just so important. It's at least half as important as the story, at least. So having good visuals is crucial. Now, this is a guy I worked with just recently, Dr. Mia. And we actually put out a story saying that fear of COVID is making people sick. And we gave a whole lot of great strategies on how you can boost your immune system during COVID. Okay, now this is actually page 7 of the Gold Coast Bulletin. And you know what? The journalist was actually loving this story. They actually loved the fact that this story was out there, because they wanted more positive stories. So it's not always that the journalist is looking for negative stories. Often that's all they're presented with, so you can put out a positive story, and every negative can be turned into a positive. Okay, every negative can be turned into a positive. So for example, when I did a fundraiser on koalas a few years ago, I said koalas are critically endangered. There's only 50,000 koalas left in the wild. However, there's 3 simple things that the community can do to help save koalas. One is they can drive slowly at night. Another thing they can do is they can plant eucalypt trees. Another thing they can do is they can contain their dogs at night. Okay, 3 simple things the community can do to help the state of koalas in Australia, as an example, right? So now we've got COVID going on. You can either look at the negatives of that, or you can look at the positives. You can look at how you're pivoting in business. What are some positive things that people can do during COVID to make up the most of this time, as an example? Right? That's a great idea for the media, just like we did here. Now, this story, we put this press release out. It was on Channel 7. It was on, here's a photo. Now, when you do get your TV coverage, make sure that you get photos of the coverage, and then use that in your social media as well to make the most of it. It was also on Channel 9, this story. It also went on Breeze FM, on Rebel FM, on Gold FM, on Triple M. So the same angle of the story went to a whole lot of different media and got lots of great positive coverage, giving people tips on building their immune system, whether it's, having sunshine, having fresh filtered water, things like that, building your immune system, being passionate, going exercising. All of this is really important to build your immune system. Fresh, whole foods. And now Teressa Todd, she's a naturopath on the Gold Coast, and an angle that she put out during COVID was how working mothers can manage working from home and also homeschooling at the same time. Okay, and this was also in line with Mother's Day. Now, Mother's Day has just been, so this came out about 2 weeks or so ago. And literally now, Teresa's actually one of my mass media mastery clients, and she came to me with a draft press release. She joined my program a while ago, but she just felt she wasn't ready quite yet to get her message out. But then she came to me, she said, I've got a draft press release. And I said, fantastic, let's have a look at it. We went through it, I tweaked it for her, and we had a fantastic press release. Within an hour of her sending this press release out, she was asked to be interviewed on Channel 7 and also on Juice FM on the Gold Coast. So such is the power of having a good angle and a good press release that looks professional, that's written as a journalist would write it. Okay, so we're not talking dot point, there's a specific format, and I'll show you some samples of press releases here that you'll get some ideas on that. So that's an angle for COVID, right? It was a fantastic angle. And the other thing is that Teresa was starting some empowerment webinars online for free to help working mums that were homeschooling through the crisis as well. So what could you do? Maybe if you haven't started something now, what could you do to help your community? You know, maybe, could you start a webinar series or some events to actually give out some good content for people in your industry right now that could give the media a reason to talk about you? Now, I highly recommend too, when you're going to media, have something with a date to point to. If you don't have something with a date, like a book launch or events you're doing or something like that, or maybe you're tying in, for example, with World Animal Week. World Animal Week is the 4th to the 10th of October. So all my animal action events I do in that time to tie in with World Animal Week, which is the 4th to the 10th of October. So that way you give the media a deadline by that date to get the story, and otherwise it becomes old news. Okay, so what can you point to that has a date? And that is a really hot tip. Otherwise, as I say, your story will be held over and held over. So with Teresa, we mentioned Mother's Day. It was a hot one. And around these times, Father's Day, back to school, there's certain times of the year where the media are clamoring for story ideas around that, right? And now with COVID, they're clamoring for story ideas around COVID. And here's some photos here as well. That was Teresa with Juice on the left there, and also on Channel 7 on the right. And she's had lots of comments also on her social media. She's had really great feedback on all of that. Now, this is Dean Vegas. For those that may know Dean Vegas, he was the world's best. He was voted world's best Elvis impersonator. Okay, so we put a press release out for him when he was running for mayor on the Gold Coast. And the angle for this was saying that if Dean made it in as mayor, he was going to stop performing as Elvis. Right, so you can see with this is the start of the press release, straight to the point. It's written as a story, so the journalist can just copy and paste the story. If they're in print media or even in radio, they want to put the story up on their website. You need to write it like this, like it needs to be in third person. It needs to be written as a journalist would write about it. And you need photos that are relevant. So we've got the corporate looking Dean and we've got the Elvis looking Dean there, right? Photos that are relevant to the press release. And ideally colourful photos. So even though the top left photo there he's in a dark suit, you've got green backgrounds. You've got a bit of colour in the photo. And of course the Elvis one is a great photo as well. Well, what happened at this launch, there were, all the media crews turned up, the TV, radio, print, it was packed house. He really gave it a great shot, but unfortunately he didn't make it in as mayor. However, what did happen is he's been booked solid as Elvis ever since. So it just goes to show that there's no such thing as bad publicity, right? And he got to say his bit about what he thought about the city, right? So now, as I'm chatting today, if you have any questions, please pop them into the chat, because I will come to the Q&A at the end, or any comments that you want to put in there, feel free to be active in there and I'll come to it at the end. Okay, the second step to publicity is the platform. Where do you want to go? And having that hit list of media that you target is really crucial. So right now, if you think about your avatar or your ideal client, the person you love to work with, have a think about what sort of media are they consuming. And if you don't know, then I suggest ask them. Ask some of your clients, what sort of shows are they enjoying? What sort of magazines are they reading? What sort of radio shows are they listening to? Podcasts. Start to ask your clients, if you don't know already, what sort of media they're consuming. Often you'll find your clients are similar to you, so it might be similar kinds of media that you are actually consuming. that's always good to ask. And then create a hit list of different TV, radio, newspapers, magazines, podcasts, etc., that you can target with your story. Now, the opportunity is huge. In Australia alone, this is all the media outlets we're looking at just in Australia alone. Now, there's 1,600 magazines right now in Australia that are being published. So no matter what your story, no matter what your industry, no matter what it is you want to promote, there will be a journalist right now looking for your story or a story on that topic. It's very, very exciting. 1 in 4 households now have pay TV. We've got 341 community radio stations, 274 commercial radio stations, 470 regional and suburban papers. So literally there's thousands of media outlets across Australia and of course overseas. If you're joining us from overseas as well, there's thousands more all around the world. So there's great opportunity there for you to share your story. And then when you do get that coverage, as I say, make sure you get the photos with the reporters. A lot of people don't think to do this because journalists kind of rush in and rush out. If you've had any coverage, you'll know that's how it works with TV crews. They're often in and out in about 15 minutes. So make sure you get a photo with them. So this photo I got on the left with the Channel 9 reporter was, I was doing a fundraiser for Sea Shepherd actually at the time. And I was talking about the angle we mentioned was that with Sea Shepherd, it was costing them $50 million just in fuel to go and send their boats down off the Australian shores to stop the Japanese from whaling in that particular year. The Japanese said they weren't going to be whaling and they were still whaling, as in killing whales for scientific research. So that's what we talked about as a fundraiser for Sea Shepherd. And then on the right here, this is actually Herb Armstrong and myself in the ABC radio studio on the Gold Coast. And this is a few years ago. Herb is actually the grandson of Louis Armstrong, of the legendary Louis Armstrong. He's actually based in Brisbane and he was performing at one of my Animal Action events. And what happened in this particular interview is we were thrown a curveball question. Now this can happen to you if you're in media interviews. You need to know what is in the media currently on your topic, because if there's something hot in the media around your topic, you could get asked about it. So for example, we were there to promote the Animal Action event that we had coming up, and they threw a curveball question, which is, what do you think of the burial of thousands of sheep in Pakistan that had just happened? Now, there were these sheep that they said were diseased in Pakistan and they'd all been buried in a big pit. And so clearly I was, flabbergasted. I couldn't believe it happened. I got very passionate about my thoughts on that topic. So just be prepared for curveball questions if you are in those media interviews. And that's where, being prepared, what to do before, during and after interviews is really important too. There's lots you can do there. All right, and newspapers, now the importance again of colourful visuals. Now this is a story we had for our very first Animal Action event actually in 2007, and we were doing a fundraiser for the Animal Welfare League, and here you can see it's a relevant photo to what we had happening, because we had a clown that was coming to the event, we had Dean Vegas performing, we have animals from the Animal Welfare League to represent what we were doing, and I've got the rainbow hat on. So you want to look at how can you make it as creative and colourful as possible. And then when you think about where you want to target your message to, you need to think about what is going to interest that particular media. Now, with Tracy Corman here from Two's Company, now that's an online dating agency. Now, she wanted to target more business clients because they were her ideal clients. So we put a half-page story out in Business Acumen magazine. This was the angle we put out here was about beware of shonky agencies, beware of shonky dating agencies. That was hot in the news at the time. And then she gave great tips on what to be careful of when you're doing online dating. And then the story goes on to talk about how many members she has in her organization, how many weddings she's had, how many charities she supports, and then a lovely link to her website at the end. Now, when people are looking to do business with you nowadays, they are going to be Googling you. What are they going to find when they Google you? Are they going to find you in media, or are they going to find someone else in your industry more in media? And if the other person is in the media more, are they going to choose to work with them over you? Now, the thing is, don't stress if you're not known as the top expert in the industry right now, because media often have a few experts in each industry on their books, because if they can't reach the Anthony Robbins of the world, or the Michelle Bridges, or the Noel Whitakers in the finance industry, if they can't reach those people that are known as the top in the industry, then they are going to go to the next person on the list and the next person on their list, okay, if they want comment on something. And often when they do want comment, they want it quickly. So you need to be prepared to jump when the media call you and seize that opportunity. Now, if Tracy wanted to take out here a half-page ad in Business Acumen magazine, it would have cost her $2,000. The PR value here, times it by 5, we said it's worth 3 to 8 times more in value for a story versus an ad. So it's about $10,000 worth of value here for a half-page story. Now, if Tracy wanted to target, say, Women's Weekly magazine, she could put an angle out such as 5 ways to find your soulmate. Okay, and that would be a great story for, say, Mamma Mia, or for big podcasts, or women's media. Now, this is Alan Coulton here. He runs a company in Brisbane called Root Barriers. And now, do you know what a root barrier is? Now, when Alan came to me, I didn't know what a root barrier was. And basically, it's a big plastic barrier that you put around the foundation of a house, and it stops the tree roots from coming under the house and cracking the foundation of the house. Now, if Alan went to the media and said, I've got this great product I want to promote, they would have said, take out thousands of dollars in advertising over here, right? But because he went with an angle that journalists would be interested in, because he was looking at how does this help the wider community, right? Root barriers save trees and protect buildings. That's what they do. That's how they help the wider community. So with this is the angle we put out, and this is the start of the press release that we had. And also at the time, the Al Gore film, An Inconvenient Truth, had just come out. There was a lot of chat about global warming at the time. There's a bit about Alan's background as South Australian farmer, a little bit about, you know, what he's done there. Now, what happened with this story is it actually ended up as a 4-page spread in Australian Horticulture magazine. If he paid for advertising, it would have been $16,000 that he paid for advertising. The publicity value there times 5 is $80,000 worth of free publicity. But more than that, he actually had hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of new business from ideal clients that were reading this magazine. So never underestimate the power of just one media spot in a magazine or in a newspaper. And if you haven't had any publicity up till this point, I highly recommend start with your local free newspaper. The next step I would suggest is go to your local community radio station and mention the suburb you're from, okay? That's really crucial. Mention where you're from, because they're looking for local people doing great things. The third step to publicity is profit. How do you then maximize your profit from your publicity? So once you get your coverage, make sure you get photos of it, then you can share it in your social media, okay? And tag back to the journalist, thank the journalist, tag back to the reporter. Also, there's a whole lot of online news sites as well. This is how Peter Turner, he's a local filmmaker on the Gold Coast, and just one story in the Gold Coast Bulletin in the local paper led to a $200,000 funding offer for his film. Just one story. And this is actually the story that came out. We had a celebrity angle here. Now this guy, I don't know if you know this face here, but it's a former home and away star, Silvio Offrio, who was actually on the Gold Coast from Sydney. And it's a lovely, positive story that we got into the media. Soap star awash with enthusiasm for Coast crime drama dream. Now, this is the thing. You don't need a massive celebrity to support your cause. He's just a guy that was on Home and Away. You know, he's not even a huge celebrity. But the fact is, it got a fantastic, positive story. It was big news for the Gold Coast, right? $200,000 funding offer within 1 to 2 days of the story coming out. And that's the thing, is you don't know who is going to be seeing your media, who is going to be drawn to your story, or going to want to work with you or support you in some way or collaborate. There's amazing stories that come out of media coverage. This is Justin Kelly. He was in the health field and he had packed seminars for years. All he did was got coverage in his local free newspaper. And he would pack out the events. He would have to do second seminars. He had consistently new clients for 6 months. So this is the thing with publicity, is that, you know, it's like a tap. You can just turn it on and turn it off. If you're getting too many leads coming in, you just turn it off and stop your publicity for a while, and then you can start again later. Although the thing is, really, when people think about who's best in the industry, you do need to keep being front of mind in some way, okay? So ideally, you want to keep getting yourself out there. And even if you're leading people to, say, a Facebook page or a Facebook group, then that's a fantastic thing to do. even if you don't have your website completely ready, right? There's a lot of people say to me, oh, I want to do this, but my website's not ready, or, you know, how am I going to capture all these leads? Or don't worry about all that, right? You just want to start getting your media out there and start leading people somewhere, even if it's to a Facebook page. Now, this is a relationships and intimacy coach, Claire Flynn, based on the Gold Coast, and she wanted to target more business people too. And this story came out in Newland Business Magazine. And the angle here is happy relationships lead to successful businesses. So she gave some great tips on how you can have a happy relationship and hence have a successful business. And from that story alone, she was asked to speak in front of 450 of her ideal clients by one person that saw that article. She had more inquiries and leads to a website. She went from making $1,000 a week to $2,000 a week in her business. So her income doubled. She's since made more than that. And she was traveling a few months of the year to America, actually, having a great life up until recently. She's probably in lockdown at the moment. But it just goes to show what's possible with just one magazine article. This is Paul Herman. He's a property investor on the Gold Coast, and he is taking on the banks for fraud. So he found that the banks had fraudulently altered some of his loan documents for his investment properties. And he put a story out about this. He went on a current affair. He was on Gold Coast Bulletin, ABC, 2GB. And this is the thing, is once you start to get media, things can really snowball and lead to other media. And he did some amazing publicity stunts, such as arrested the ANZ Bank for fraud, right? So he did some pretty interesting things. And Paul now has some, you know, fighting bank fraud groups on Facebook and things like that. So he's a very passionate person and taking on the banks. So, you know, with the power of the media as one person, you can make a big difference in whatever it is that you're passionate about, or that you want to see change in, or maybe some things out in society that you feel there's some injustices around that you want to speak up about. With the power of the media, you can just reach so many more people. And now he's renegotiating with the banks now with his loans. Now, Stephen Esser, he was voted the world's best public speaker at the World Internet Summit with Brett McFall and Tom Hua in front of thousands of people. But when it came to media coverage, as in actually being interviewed on TV, he was incredibly nervous. Now, with the angles that we put out, Sky News Business TV came to us and said, we want to do a 3 to 5 minute interview with Steve. So I did some media training with Steve one-on-one. We did some mock interviews. I helped him with his media grabs. And what happened is he actually got a 6-minute spot on Sky News Business TV. If he paid for advertising, it would have cost him $300,000 in advertising, because it's $25,000 for a 30-second spot. The publicity value times that by 5 is $1.5 million worth of free publicity from just one TV spot. And now he's an online marketer, and he's appeared in the TV once, and he can say forever now in his marketing, as seen on TV. It's incredibly powerful, and particularly if you are in the online media space at all, or you work online. Having that kind of credibility is massive. So you want to celebrate your success. Make sure you get copies of your media coverage, put these on your social media sites, and celebrate and watch how your credibility and cash flow grows. Now, I also worked with Local Tag Business Exchange on the Gold Coast a few years ago, and they were also on Juice and in the Bulletin and different media. So make sure you tag all the different media. And some of these media outlets, as I say, they've got millions of followers. So using your tags effectively on social media is really important to maximize your coverage. Now, there's a whole lot of PR distribution sites out there. I haven't got time to go through all of these. However, basically, you can pay for media lists. You can, pay per email with some of these. However, the thing is with a lot of these media lists is they're not necessarily up to date, because journalists move around so often. So I don't actually recommend paying thousands of dollars for media lists personally. I do have media contacts, so sometimes I share with my clients once I know that they know what they're putting out there. I want to make sure we don't burn those contacts. But the thing is, with a lot of these places, the media lists are not kept up to date. So I highly recommend start your own media list, and definitely check out SourceBottle. This is a fantastic way to connect with journalists and bloggers directly. If you haven't used SourceBottle, I recommend go on there, put a search in your industry, and it'll show you exactly what journalists are looking for right now, what kind of stories they're looking for. And they put these media call outs out, and you can actually put yourself forward as an expert in SourceBottle and get some publicity. So for example, Yahoo Finance did a call out. They wanted to talk to landlords and how they're coping during COVID. So I actually responded straight away. I got a huge spread on there out to millions of people on Yahoo Finance. I also offered them photos, and they actually said to me, oh, I wish more people thought like you, because they didn't have any photos at all and they wanted some good photos. So I quickly got out the front of my house and I got a photo organized, sent it off to them. So that was Yahoo Finance recently, and that was through SourceBottle. So there's a lot of opportunities that come through there. Also, my client, Andrew Komenos, the results guy, we just had a huge podcast with him with a guy called Kizzy, Game Changers podcast in the UK, and that's also gone out to 400,000 people. That was a contact also that came through SourceBottle. So it's a very powerful place to look for some media opportunities. Now, this is a press release that I worked on with Michelle Patterson. She came to me. She's a women's empowerment coach on the Gold Coast, and she was starting some Empowering Women series. So we did a big media consultation with her, and we came up with this angle: coach empowers women who underwent forced adoptions. And we tied it in with National Adoption Awareness Week. We had a date there. We talked about the number of women that were forced to adopt their children out. We put this press release out. We had a little bit of interest from this. And then we tweaked it just slightly to this angle here. Mother opens up on secret forced adoption after 30 years. And we were inundated with requests for this story, particularly from magazines. And what ended up happening is we ended up negotiating an exclusive with Women's Day magazine. I was her PR agent at the time, and they paid thousands of dollars for this story. And these are behind the scenes photos of what happened here. So this is, they sent a hair and makeup person to her unit in Labrador. And they sent a photographer up from Sydney from Women's Day magazine. And these are all behind the scenes shots, of course, that were embargoed until, so they weren't allowed to come out in any social media or anything until the actual physical story came out in Women's Day magazine. Behind the scenes photos here. More behind the scenes photos. And this is the story. This is the 2-page spread that came out, full 2 pages, $60,000 she would have paid for advertising if she'd paid for 2 pages of advertising. The publicity value times 5, that's $300,000 in publicity value. 1.6 million readers she reached with this story. And the beauty of this is that in the second column, at the end of the second paragraph, is a link to Michelle's business website. So even though she's sharing her personal story, it's actually links back to her business website and her Empowering Women courses. And now I want to show you again here the importance of good photos. You can see the photos that their photographers took. The 2 big photos on this spread were from their photographer. The small photos, not good photos, not good quality, they have a small run in the media. So again, the importance of having good photos. This is Kurek Ashley. He's a success coach on the Sunshine Coast. And he always wanted to be on Oprah, interestingly. And I went and spoke with him. We did a feature story for XL magazine. And this is a photo I actually took of him, because I'm a photojournalist by trade, so I do photos as well. So I took this photo of him at the front of his Sunshine Coast unit a few years ago. This is a zero to hero type story, because he was once $20 away from being broke, and now he's a multimillionaire. How did he do it? Now, this story got held over from 1 month to the next month. And interestingly, it appeared in XL magazine, 4-page spread, and Oprah was on the cover of the magazine. Unbelievable. And, you know, the PR value is $80,000 for the PR value. Again, that photo I took of him, the big photo, is a professional, high quality photo. The small photos, even though they have celebrities in these small photos, we've got John Travolta and Chuck Norris, because Kurek worked in Hollywood as well. He did some stunts in Hollywood. So even though there's celebrities in those photos, because they're not good photos, they get a bad run, right? Okay, so that's that. So the world really is your oyster. Now, I have an offer for you today that I am going to present for anyone who wants to work more with me, because there's a lot I can cover on this topic. Before I do, though, I'd love to hear, what are some of your ahas to this point? What are some things you've got out of this? Or what is, say, one major thing even that you've got out of it? I'm going to come to the chat and have a look at your comments, because I would love to hear from you. What are some things that you've got out of this so far? And we'll see what you've been putting in the chat here. Miriam, the Beautiful You Project is my signature product. Beautiful. A program of mentoring and teaching how to exchange survival skills with life skills. Nice. I like it, Miriam. Adrian, promote my life improvement services, coaching, counseling, online programs. I improve my own life and help many others. Beautiful, Adrian. Love it. Okay, Jacinta's making the most of preparing after these times, business plans. John says, wow. Adrian, I realize I need to be more engaged in this space to share my story and work. Okay, that's a great insight. Any other ahas? Please pop them into the chat. You should have a chat box down the bottom there somewhere. Tanya, usable for promoting our sign business, but also some angles I hadn't thought of for promoting our musician son. Yes, well, if you have a musician son, now I was actually an entertainment reporter for years, Tanya, and with your musician son, you need good photos for him and you need a good bio, okay? And a lot of musicians do not have good bios, so you need a really well-written bio, I recommend, for your son. Miriam, great value, some of your takeaways. Paid close to $1,000 for this kind of info several years ago. Okay. Great, Miriam. Awesome. And you got it here for free. Well, there you go. Julie, I love Source Bottle. Can't wait to work with you. Awesome, Julie. Fantastic. Julie's one of our members. Okay, fantastic. All right, any questions? We're going to come to Q&A in a minute. I will present a very special offer for you today. Good ideas for promoting a product from Renee. John, avenues that are open for us, so many other takeaways. Beautiful. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Feel free to keep popping your info in the chat. Now, I've put together something that's absolutely insane value, and there's actually a fair bit of my time in this program. And this is most likely the last time I will be offering this program at this stage, because it's insane. So what I've got here in this COVID-19 special program is a thorough, in-depth media consultation, one-on-one, to go through your media goals and uncover the gems of your story. Now, these media consultations can go for several hours, okay? Because it really takes a while to dig deep into, you know, your personal story, your business, how you help others, etc. So thorough media consultation one-on-one. If you're on the Gold Coast or around Southeast Queensland, we can do that in person. I also fly into state once these COVID restrictions lift. I often do workshops in Sydney, Melbourne, and around different places as well. However, at the moment, we can do it on Zoom or in person. Also, a media marketing strategy. The value here is $1,000 for this. Media consultation is $2,000, what I normally charge. Also, so media marketing strategy, so you have some clarity around what you're going to do with your media and how you're going to get out there. Social media profile audit also here. So this, I'm actually going to look at all your social media, and we're going to look at your branding. I'm going to give you some reviews and suggestions for your branding, and give you some tips on how to do social media more effectively. Okay, so we'll look at everything you've got going on there, and I'll give you some great ideas around your social media. So the value of each of those is $1,000. Also, your speaker biography or your about profile for LinkedIn or other social media, professionally edited or rewritten. Okay, so that's $1,000 right there as well. So often we tend to talk ourselves down in our about sections. So having a well-written, succinct, either speaker bio, one page, or about section on LinkedIn is really crucial. So I will do that for you. If you've got one currently done, I will edit or rewrite that for you if need be. And then media training one-on-one, so you're confident in being on camera, okay, and confident being interviewed. And it's really great to know that you have someone by your side doing this, because I know a lot of people have a lot of nerves around being seen on camera or about getting out in the media. So I'll actually train you in how to be confident there, so you come across professionally and you have some good grabs. Also, a 1-hour live interview on Media Queen TV. Now, I love doing these 1-hour interviews because, well, firstly, I get to share your story. I get to share your story, your message, and also I get to leave a legacy for you. Now, if you die tomorrow and there's nothing else out there other than a 1-hour live interview of you on video, that's the only video coverage of you out there, then your family and your friends have something to remember you by. Okay, so it's crucial, I believe, to get video content out there. And if you're interviewed on Media Queen TV, you can actually use that to leverage to get other media coverage as well. So there's a 1-hour live interview. Also, I promote you out to my contacts, 60,000 contacts I have on social media. I have 30,000 just on LinkedIn. So a lot of high-end business people there. Facebook, Twitter's important for your, connecting with celebrities and journalists. Instagram and Pinterest. So that's 500 value there. Also, I'm doing a brand new mass media mastery training system. Now, if you've joined my program before, as I know some of you here have, Tula and Alfred, etc., you're welcome to come on to this, doing a brand new mass media mastery system, which we are doing training modules, 7 modules for the 7 modules every fortnight, every 2 weeks from May 19. So they're from this Tuesday, 11 a.m. till noon, Australian Eastern Standard Time. I'm actually going to be going through all the awesome steps of my mass media mastery training system. It starts with A, with articulate story, and it goes right up to E, which is explode impact. And each 2 weeks, I will be covering a different module in depth for an hour, and you'll be able to hop onto the live sessions of these. And then every 2 weeks after that, we'll actually be doing Q&A sessions, and I'm going to be covering more in depth on different social media outlets. So we're going to be talking about Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube, plus Q&A and these 5 sessions. So the whole program is actually a 6-month program. It goes all the way up to October 20 for the live recordings. And then all of these will be they'll be recorded and put into the Mass Media Mastery membership site, okay, which you will also get access to. A whole new one I'm developing. And then you get a ticket to any of my upcoming half-day workshops as well. I've got a workshop called How to Gain $1 Million Worth of Free Publicity. The next one is on June 6th on Zoom. And anyone who has attended any of my previous workshops are welcome to come back for free to this one. Okay, it is selling online for $47 plus booking fee. If you have attended before, you're welcome to come back for free to that. Just say you're going in Facebook on that one or Eventbrite. So that's going to be on Zoom, 6th of June. I have done these all around Australia and had some fantastic response. I've had people attend this workshop and go straight out and get publicity afterwards, which has been brilliant to see. Diane McKendrick's a great example of that. She went straight out and got publicity after doing this workshop. And then also you're going to get lifetime access to the Mass Media Mastery membership site. It's going to have press release templates in there, the new site I'm putting together, media checklists, Mass Media Tribe meetup, guest speaker recordings, and exclusive interviews with media experts. That's $997 value there. And then also you'll get lifetime access to the Mass Media Mastery closed Facebook group, where we have our Mass Media Mastery members from all around the world, and you can network there with like-minded positive people. Also media opportunities sometimes I put in there, and you can promote your upcoming events and have ongoing support. We also put marketing tips in there as well. So that's the program. So today, the whole value of all of that is $12,038. And today it is $497 down today, and 5 monthly payments of $497 for the 6-month program. The link is right there, aaexpos.com/mass media mastery. And I also have special bonuses for the first 3 people that join me today. I have special action takers bonuses. And one bonus I'm going to give the first 3 people that actually sign up today is I am actually going to edit or rewrite your press release for you. Now, people pay me $2,000 to do a press release for them. I will edit or rewrite your press release. And also, I will throw in a copy of one of my 3 books. I have a chapter in each of these about how to get publicity. So we've got Elevate Your Mindset, this one here. And these are all compilation books with authors from all over Australia. We've got Visions of Success and Think Big with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they all have chapters, as I say, on how to get publicity. So I'll also throw in a copy of one of those. Fantastic, Adrian, welcome. That's great. So I'll put the link in there for you, and we've got a few more slides. I haven't quite finished yet. So that's great, Adrian. I look forward to working with you. Welcome. And we have a few other members here on the program. So that's very exciting. I love seeing my clients in the media. And the other thing I do here is when you do get your media coverage, I also will be, there's a link there. I also will be promoting you ongoingly in my social media. So every time you get a media spot, like I did with Teressa recently, when she was on Channel 7, I shared it all over the place, right? So I'm constantly celebrating my clients. So you get that ongoing promo as well out to my people. Okay. And there's a guarantee that if you show me you have followed my mass media mastery system and you've not gained free publicity within the time of this program, the 6-month program, I will give you a full refund. And that's insane. That is an insane guarantee because a lot of my time that I'm putting into this. So that's how confident I am with this program. So if you show me you followed the system and have not gained publicity, I will give you 100% full refund. Okay, so that's the offer. It was 12,000 actually, I haven't changed that one. 497 today and 5 by 497 per month. Okay, so 6-month program, lifetime access to all of that. And really this is what it's all about. This is my final slide before we get to Q&A. I believe in the power of one and I believe in you. May your flame burn bright and light up all those around you. Now, it's amazing how powerful we are. You're extraordinary just by being born. You've beaten about 1 billion other swimmers to get to the finish line just by being born. So you are extraordinary. You have a great story to share. And I would love to see you share that in the media. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop sharing now and have a look at you all. There we are. Hello, hello. All right. So let's have a look at the chat now. Any questions as well? Feel free to unmute yourself as well if you want to say anything in person. Unmute yourself there. Welcome, Adrian. Hello, hello.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm happy to share. I'm really excited. I've been looking for something like this and I've been watching you for a while, Aldwyn, and it feels synchronicity, timing is perfect for me. So thank you. Yeah, really looking forward to the journey.
Brilliant, Adrian. That's great. And I am on the Kangen machine too, I must say. This isn't a promo for Kangen, but but it is amazing. The water is unbelievable. If you haven't seen the Kangen machines, I mean, just chat to Adrian. It's phenomenal.
I've been drinking it for 7 years, and I'm super healthy.
Yeah, it's amazing. The quality of our water is so crucial to how we do life. And, you'd be blown away. I was blown away by some of the water demos. Even with spring water, we think spring water is clean. And then when you do the pH tests on it, and it's just unbelievable what water we think is clean that isn't. I'm sure you could talk a lot more about that, Adrian.
You can promote me to do it.
Well, see, if there's something I believe in, I will naturally promote it. I can't help it, right? If there's something I don't believe in, I will not promote it. Okay, so if there's like, for example, I put a post up saying that, because there's a PR company actually recently, major PR company in Australia, said that they just had the biggest media coverage that they'd ever had for one of their clients around vaccines, right? And the client had just started to do human trials of vaccines. Now, I do not believe in vaccines personally. Now, your opinion's your opinion, okay? But personally, I think if you want to get vaccinated, you go ahead. And if you feel it's going to protect you, then great. It shouldn't worry you if other people get vaccinated or not, right? The thing is, if the government says everyone has to be vaccinated, I disagree with that, because I don't want anything injected in my body that I don't choose to have injected in my body, right? So that's my personal opinion. So I put a post on Facebook saying that I don't care how much someone pays me. If they want me to promote that, human trials of vaccines, and to promote mandatory vaccines across Australia, which is the way things are going, I will not do it. I don't care how much you pay me. I cannot do that with integrity because it's something I don't personally believe in. Now, each to their own. Okay, if you have a different opinion, I highly respect that. Each to your own. But I think we should have a choice as to what goes in our body, personally. Okay, so that's my opinion on that one. All right. Okay. Oh, wow, Julie, I was blackmailed into it to see my mother. Wow. So, Julie, you ended up getting vaccinated, did you, to see your mum? I'd love to hear from you on that one. This isn't about vaccines, obviously, but we get passionate about these things, right? So thank you, Adrian, for sharing.
Hi. Can I just quickly say hi and bye?
Yeah, sure.
I just joined. I just jumped in.
Hello, Miriam. Where are you? Oh, you've jumped in, and are you still there? You're still there? Was that Miriam? I think it was Miriam speaking. I can't hear though. Can anyone help? Miriam, I think you've just muted or maybe cut out there. She might be coming back in a minute. Technology, okay. Well, she said hi and bye, or she's still there. If you're still there, Miriam, feel free to unmute yourself. Any comments, questions that you'd like to ask? I'll have a look at the chat as well. Julie, she's in a nursing home. Tanya, I'm in the same situation. Mum is in a nursing home. I can't visit unless I have the flu shot. Wow. Apparently there's homeopathic vaccinations that aren't so bad. Look, I don't know too much about it. You want to do your own research, but I have heard that there's versions of the flu shot maybe that aren't so bad. So, but I have heard that they have, a lot of vaccines have mercury and formaldehyde and a whole lot of toxic things in them. So do your own research on that one. And I suggest if you're going to get anything shot into you, that you ask the doctor what is in it. Ask what the ingredients are. I had a tetanus shot in my backside 25 years ago, and I had a big lump there and shooting pains down my leg for years. Now, that was from a tetanus shot. So I have personal experience with a shot that's gone bad. They might have got the wrong spot. I don't know. But I know Alfred is a doctor on this, and I'm sure he could talk. Alfred's one of my clients from Melbourne. Tanya, I've given homeopathic to my kids. Okay, interesting, Tanya. Well, there you go. Each to their own on that, and you have to do what you feel is right. But I do suggest do your own research. Don't just believe what the mass media tell you, okay, particularly the mainstream media. Okay, Gabrielle, there's a lawyer leading the do not consent letters. Yes, I saw that, the do not consent letters. Yes, there's been some tags on my Facebook about that. Thank you, Gabrielle. Yeah, I've seen that. Very interesting around the vaccines. Adrian, ask the doctor for the company vax information. Worth reading, just saying. Okay. Well, there you go. That's a good point too, Adrian. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Comments, ahas? Anything you want to promote? Here's a great opportunity. Anything you've got coming up you might want to promote? Love to hear from you. I'm all for people promoting their stuff.
Yeah, well, I got a product I want to promote abroad in the UK.
Ah,
Able to help me with that.
Welcome, Renee. What is it that you're promoting?
Something very simple here in Australia. It's called patio blinds.
Patio blinds, okay.
Yes, you can buy them at Bunnings, and they don't even know they exist in the UK.
Okay.
But I need to get it promoted. The problem is to get it out and let people know that it's available. Because nobody knows about it.
Yes, so the thing,
you can help me there.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, patio blinds, if you go to the media and say, I've got patio blinds, they're going to say it's commercial, take out an ad, right? So what you need to look at is what is unique about your patio blinds, or maybe the story behind the patio blinds, or what do the patio blinds do for people? Okay, so you've got to look at the story behind the story. You can't just promote that commercial product. It'll be too commercial, and they're just going to say take out an ad. So, okay, here's an example. So, for example, there was a company that did some eco coffins, which were cardboard coffins, right? And they tied it in with, they said, we've got these coffins and they're actually helping the environment because they're made out of this very thick cardboard and they biodegrade, right? So that was a really interesting angle around a product that, normally would not be environmentally friendly. But there was an environmental angle with the actual materials of that coffin. Right. So, we need to dig further into this, Renee, but there's always a story behind the story, right? Or there could be your personal story, which will then lead to the blinds, right? So there'll be something there that you can promote that will then also end up promoting the blinds without directly saying, come and buy my blinds.
So I can speak to you about it after this here.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, if anyone wants to have a free strategy chat with me, or you're wondering, if this is for you, or any questions at all, I'm happy to do that as well. So we can have a personal chat. I'm actually just going to put my mobile number in here because I am an open book and quite happy to chat with anyone who would like to. So that's an Australian number. So overseas. So you're in the UK, are you, Renee?
I'm at the Gold Coast.
Oh, the Gold Coast. Oh, with a UK accent. Okay, welcome.
Spent a few years there.
Okay, beautiful. There we are there. That's the international number. So feel free to text me if you want to have a chat. We can have a chat directly after this if you like. I do have about an hour up my sleeve after this before my next appointment. So we can have a quick chat after this if you'd like to, or we can make another time through the week.
Yeah.
I'd love to get another photo of everyone. Are we up for a photo? Can we see your faces and get another photo? Because I know some new people joined us. I've got Kat, my assistant here. Hello, Kat. Welcome. Oh, great. Lovely to see your faces. You're beautiful. I love your photos, Julie. They look amazing on your Facebook. Your new photos. Even though I didn't take them, they're still good. You're muted, Julie. You're muted. Unmute yourself. Okay, so Kat, Marty and Abigail, love to see your faces. Hopefully you're not naked. That would be great. This is a clean show here. This is a this is an all ages. All ages.
I'm here with my son, so I'll stay.
You'll stay. No, okay. You don't have to show your face. It's just it looks better on the photo. That's all. Abigail, Marty, Kat, if you'd like to show your face, show your face. If not, here's your final chance. Even a close-up of your face if you've got things going on in the background. There you are, Kat. Hello. Kat's my lovely assistant. She's my social media manager. Welcome from the Philippines. Hello, Kat. We've been working together for over a year now. And she's taken time away from her 1-year-old son. So thank you, Kat. All right, here we are. Now, if everyone can just look here at your webcam. Okay, are we ready? Big smiles. Cheers, and again, and one more. Hey, excellent. Thank you, thank you. That's great. I love photos, as you can tell. I take photos all the time of just about everything. I just love it. Okay, any questions, ahas, comments, anything you want to ask now? What is something you're going to do differently? Yes, Julie.
Oh, can I just say sorry? I didn't realise you were a photographer when I got my photos done.
Oh, I could have done that for you. I'm a photojournalist by trade, and I actually started my business as a photography business in 2002. It started as AA Expose Photography, and I was working as a journalist full-time. And then when I left the Sun, it evolved into a media business. But I don't actively promote the photography side, Julie. But if people ask me, I will look after special people in my life and do photos. If you've seen Nick Cree's photos online, I did those for him. I did Catherine Palin Brinkworth's photos recently. I've done a lot, thousands and thousands of professional photos with the proper.
I know for next time.
With the proper SLR camera. And here's a little tip for you if you are getting photos done. If you want to come across well on camera, stick your chin forward a little bit, right? Like a turtle. You do like a turtleneck thing. So you sort of stretch your neck out, especially if you've got double chins. Like I have a few double chins. Like, see, that's a shocking look, right? So you want to be stretching your neck out and then tip your head forward and smile, and then you'll get rid of that chin situation, right? There's a hot tip for you, okay, to come across looking 10 years younger in your photos. And also you want to have the camera a little bit higher than you. If you shoot from below, so if I get up higher, it's not a good look. You don't want to be shooting up, you're looking up someone's nostrils, not a good look. You want to shoot ideally looking down. Okay, so so there's some hot photography tips for you. No, but they are beautiful photos, Julie. So the main thing is you do want to have professional photos in your social media, and for your publicity. You want to at least have a good headshot, because the thing is that sometimes print media, they might only have room for a tiny little photo, in which case if you've got a good headshot to present to them, then they can slot that headshot just in the middle of the column, Yeah. So it's really great that you got some good quality photos, Julie. I love them. Lots of comments on your photo. Now everyone's going to check you out on Facebook and go, what are these photos?
Oh God.
All right. So any other comments, questions? Feel free to pop them in. Okay. Check out adrianhanks.com services. Happy to promote free life aspects journal. Beautiful. Thank you, Adrian. Abigail, peace to all, Aldwyn, beautiful presentation. Thank you, Abigail. Namaste to you too. Gabrielle's, thank you, Gabrielle, for joining us. Tula, thanks, Aldwyn, photo tips are gold. Oh, thank you, Tula. And Tula, now you joined my program a while. You joined an old version of the program. So as I say, you're welcome to come back and join us on these live recordings. And the link is actually in the private Mass Media Mastery Facebook group, which any new members, I will add you to that private group, which you get lifetime access to. At the top of the group has the Zoom link for all of our meetings coming up every 2 weeks from May 19, from this Tuesday, May 19, 11 a.m. till noon for the next 12, over the next 24 weeks. So 12 sessions every 2 weeks on the same time, Tuesday, 11 a.m. till noon from May 19. Okay, so the link is in that private group, which I will add you to once you join the program for those that are thinking of joining. Or if you have any other questions or want to have a chat, thank you, Tula. Glad you enjoyed the presentation. Julie, thank you so much. Thanks for Renee. Thanks for your impressive information. Very interesting. Thank you, Renee. I'm glad you liked it. So now, look, no matter what it is you want to promote, there will be an angle that we can come to the media with about that. Okay, obviously it needs to be an ethical company that we're promoting. Otherwise, if you join and it's not ethical, it's not something that I'm aligned with, I will refund your money, okay, because I don't want to be working with people who are not ethical. And I'd say if you're here and you've been attracted to this, you are ethical, I would say, with what you're doing. But, you know, I cannot promote something that I do not believe in. Okay, that's just how I work. And I would suggest that you do the same with whatever it is you're doing. And generally, if you're attracted to my community, then I'd say you most likely are a heart-centered person who is out to make a difference in the world in some way. It's perfect that you're here today. I do believe that the right people show up, you know, as they do. So I really do appreciate you being here. And Alfred, it's a shame I can't see your face. Alfred, I just want to talk about Alfred for a minute. He's 84 years old. He's a doctor from Melbourne, and he's also an animal activist and passionate about the environment. And he's a trooper. He's just so cool. Just goes to show that, you know, that it doesn't matter what age you are, you can get your message out there and make a difference. So we're looking at your black and white photo there, Alfred. Age is no barrier. That's right, Tula. Absolutely. Age is absolutely no barrier. And the thing is, you're never going to look as good next year as you do today, generally, unless you're on some amazing anti-aging product. You want to get yourself, you know, get yourself out there now while you're still, you know, you're still feeling youthful and energized and you know, ready to put yourself out there. And, you know, we're doing with this program, we've got a one-on-one interview anyway. We've got a 1 hour interview I'll be doing with you. So we'll be working very closely and I'll be promoting you. And before we do that though, we'll do the media consultation. We'll do a social media strategy. We'll edit your bio and make sure that you're coming across professionally online. And can't wait to work with you. Any other questions, comments, anything at all? There's no questions, no silly questions here. Anything at all, any comments, ahas, anything maybe you're going to do differently now after watching this today? Love to hear from you. Either pop in the chat or unmute yourself. And I'll just have a look at the chat, see if there's anything else there to answer. Tanya, thank you so much. Everyone feel free to check out Science for Business and Angus Gill Music. Beautiful. Plug. Absolutely. You go plug. I do not mind at all. You know, it's interesting, these webinars, people, you know, that you go on and people say, you know, don't promote, this is my webinar, don't promote your stuff. No, it's all about supporting each other. That's what I believe. So I love to see that. I love to see you supporting each other. So that's awesome. Thank you, Tanya, for that. John, what is my story behind Kang and why I got into it, how it connects to the wider community? Yes, exactly. So yeah, exactly, John, you might have a story about why you got into that, or what, maybe health issues you've had personally or something like that, and that the water has helped. There could be something there for sure. Okay, thank you. Jacinta says, excellent web. I'll start working on all your tips today. Beautiful, Jacinta. Good to see. Tula, I'd like to chat because I've moved into a new line of business. Not sure. Okay, well, we'll have a chat about that, Tula. That's fine. You've seen my number there. Okay, John, I have some idea how to relate to journalists. Beautiful. And check out Source Bottle. Yes, absolutely. Source Bottle is an awesome resource. I actually ended up in Women's Weekly years ago from a Source Bottle call out. And they wanted to know what they wanted to hear from someone in their 30s who was online dating. At the time I was in my 30s. And so I gave them my online dating story, and it was because they had someone from the 20s, the 30s, the 40s. It was quite hilarious. So, you know, you could put there's also interesting requests that come out. And if you're someone who has experience in that, you can comment on it. And, you know, Women's Weekly has 2 million readers. So, you know, people will Google you. You know, I'm still single, but that's not to say that you never know what might happen one day, right? So so being in Women's Weekly talking about dating in my 30s didn't help me get a relationship. But anyway, that's okay. It's just, you know, contributing, right? Contributing your experience. So it's funny. I think I intimidate men. That's what they tell me. I intimidate them apparently. So I'm working on my femininity now. Working on stepping into my divine feminine so I don't scare the men off. Anyway, there's a few men on this webinar, so that's awesome. So I haven't scared you off at this stage. Oh, thank you, Adrian. That's great. You're still there. Awesome, Adrian. So a few thumbs up. Maybe you can give me some tips on what I can do better to attract a soulmate. You know?
Well, we can start by body surfing, and there we go.
Yeah, let's body surf together. Awesome.
Single male too, so you never know.
Oh, there you go. Well, you never know. There you go. You never know if you never go, right? So, not that I'm not suggesting anything, but it'll be great to get to know you, Adrian, and obviously keep things very professional between us. That would be good.
Of course.
Otherwise there'd be a conflict of interest, right? So oh gosh, I do like to have a laugh. I think it's important to laugh. You know, something else I started is the Gold Coast Business Laughter Club. And that was to help business owners actually chill out a bit more. We started a meetup, and we have different comedians, and we raise money for the homeless and also for an animal cause. So the Gold Coast Business Laughter Club, we had one scheduled actually for May 8, but you know, bringing comedy online is a little bit different to a live event. So we will get those going again, but that's something that I started. And I actually have a comedy duo called the Fiddly Gigglers. It's funny, the other day I was being introduced, actually it was for a Speakers Tribe event I was speaking at. Oh, no, it was before the speakers. It was Dave Kane's quickie tips. Yeah, he said they said Aldwyn is in a duo called the Fiddly Jigglers instead of the Fiddly Gigglers. I thought, oh, that's hilarious. So anyway, you know, you just got to have fun and relax and enjoy life, because it is so short. You know, one of my 4 friends who took their own lives, you know, they had hundreds of people at their funeral. Hundreds of people. So they just had no idea how many people they impacted. And there was just one dark moment where they fell off that roller coaster of life, you know, where, you know, it's so unfortunate that they, you know, that they did that. However, the fact is, if people are choosing to do that, it's their choice. But, you know, I think there's a lot we can do to help people around us, to help lift people's spirits, to help them see hope, to, you know, to see things in a different light. And if you know anyone with depression out there, this is something I'm very passionate about with my good news. If you know anyone, I have a great interview on my YouTube channel with a lady called Tracy Coleman, who was actually on this. She runs Two's company, and it was an interview about how to overcome abuse and depression. And we've given our tips. I've shared from the heart. She shared from the heart of how we've overcome our own depression, and just simple things, simple strategies like being creative or doing something you love, going to the beach. Simple things like that can help pull people out of those dark moments, and it could actually help save a life. So I do highly recommend that you check out Media Queen TV and my interview that I did on YouTube with Tracy Coleman on how to overcome abuse and depression. And if you know anyone who's suffering from depression, particularly now with COVID, you know, some people are really not coping very well right now. Some people are really stressing out about the current environment. If you know anyone who is depressed, do reach out. You know, I do love the whole Are You OK Day concept as well. Reach out to people, because a lot of times I think people who have depression, they feel very alone. You know, and you could be a saving grace for someone, you know, and by sharing that video with the tips, that they will see that they're not alone. So that's a little digression there, but, you know, it's something that I'm very passionate about, is helping to lift people's spirits and to make the most of life, you know, hence the comedy and having fun and, you know, being a bit controversial at times. I do encourage people to question things. So yes, there we go. So any other questions, comments, ahas? Tula, stay just as you are, beautiful. Oh, thank you, Tula. Thank you. Oh, that's good. I don't scare the women away either. That's awesome. Thank you, Tula. That's gorgeous. Thank you very much. And Tula, is that Greek? I presume it's a Greek name? Yeah. I'm Greek Orthodox, believe it or not. I have Greek, Turkish, and Ukrainian blood. So all 3 countries were at war with each other at one point, right? And so, you know, I say my parents had make-up sex, and here I am. So I'm the love child between the 3 countries. Born in Sydney, first generation Aussie. And I love how multicultural we are across the world now and in Australia, and so much to learn from other cultures. John, you're gorgeous. Thank you very much. Marty, my book is called Single Again and Again and Again. You should read it when it's out. That's hilarious. I can't wait to read that, Marty. That is so funny. Oh my goodness. Yes, please put the link. Yeah, we'd love that. Or where can we connect with you to definitely get a copy of that one? Renee, the amount of energy you have is amazing. You're so positive. Oh, thank you, Renee. Thank you. Well, look, I wasn't always positive. I was actually very negative there for a while. And I guess, you know, once you go through dark periods in your life, I think when you come out the other side of it, it's amazing how your outlook on life can change. You know, like I was actually a very rebellious teenager, and I was actually kicked out of home at 15 by my dad because he's a very strict European, and everything he'd say to not do, I would go and do. I would do the opposite. I was a complete rebel, and I got kicked out of home, and then I actually ended up failing everything in year 11. And then I saw my boyfriend sleep with my best friend at 16 years of age. And I remember calling my mum in tears, and I said, "Mum, I can't handle this anymore." I'd moved into this environment with a drummer. His mum was an alcoholic. His sister was dealing drugs. It was a very, it wasn't a very healthy environment. And I went home and I studied really hard. I changed environment. I went from Mossman High School to Forest High School in Sydney, and I worked really hard and got into a media degree. So I didn't share that story with you earlier, but there was a really quite a down point there when I was about 15, 16. And now, I have the most extraordinary relationship with my parents. They're celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary this year. They're at Bribie Island. And Dad's 82 and Mum's 76, and we are just so close now, and I so appreciate them. Getting emotional. I so appreciate them, and I think about people who don't talk to family members, or someone says one thing they don't like and they hate that person or don't talk to them. I just think it's a real shame, because you only, blood is thicker than water, they say, and we can't choose our family, but I do believe in having peace in your life around your relationships. And sometimes we think the grass is greener on the other side, as I did. And, I learned the hard way. However, having gone through that, it has helped me become more positive now. So, and also a lot of personal development. I've done a lot of work on myself over the years, and it continues. It's ongoing, so I think that's the thing also, is being willing to own your stuff, and, recognizing when you get triggered, or when you have fears, or when, being self-aware, I think is really important. So thank you, Renee. That is lovely. Marty says, here we go. She's put her link on there. Beautiful. LouisaPateman.com. We're ready in 4 weeks. Fantastic, Marty. Excellent. Look forward to seeing that. Tanya, my son is working on a comedy album at the moment. Wow, working with actual comedians that are and aren't musical. Should be a hoot when it's out. Fantastic. Well, that is excellent, Tanya. And maybe we could chat about having your son as a guest at the Gold Coast Business Laughter Club. There's an idea. We're always looking for guests there. So that could be brilliant. We've got a meetup group and a Facebook page if you want to have a look at Gold Coast Business Laughter Club. Julie, so true, mental health, big issue. We're only here for a short time too, John, absolutely. Julie, wow, so marvelous. Sometimes you just have to walk away when you are under life threats. Yes, absolutely. Sure, he'd be in. Okay, brilliant, Tanya. That's awesome. Okay, well, I could chat all day. It's so great to connect with you all. Any other final comments, questions, ahas, any other final promo opportunities? Anyone want to promote anything? Feel free to unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Speak up. Now is your chance. And if you have joined the program, welcome. I look forward to working with you, and you will be receiving a welcome email, and the first step will be organizing a media consultation, okay? So we'll be in touch. And of course, I will be adding you. Make sure we're friends on Facebook so I can add you to the private Facebook group, Mass Media Mastery, where you will find the link for the live recording starting on Tuesday. Okay, so starting this Tuesday, 11 a.m. till noon. I haven't got any more of these webinars scheduled. This is a COVID special now that restrictions have lifted on COVID. I think things are changing, so this could well be the last of these webinars that I do. And that COVID special program price is absolutely insane, because people pay $2,000 just for a press release and media consultation. So you're getting all of that insane value, ongoing support. It's mad. It's mad. However, I'm doing as a COVID special to give back and to help support people, because I want to see you step up with your message. So yeah, so this is potentially the last one of these, as I say. I do Mass Media Tribe meetup events as well. I've got a free event on Thursday night you're welcome to come to. I have Carla Pazika from Sunshine Coach. She's going to be talking about how to market your magic and thrive online. So that's Mass Media Tribe. You're all welcome to join that group, Mass Media Tribe meetup group. And in the events section, you'll see all the upcoming events. And if money's an issue right now, and you know, maybe the program's a stretch for you financially, you might want to just come to the workshop, which is $47 plus booking fee. That's on June 6th. If you want to come and do the 4-hour workshop, you might want to just come and do that if you don't want all that other support just now. So, you know, that's a great option for you. 2 tickets is $84 plus booking fee. It's cheaper if you bring a friend. And that is also very interactive as well. And we'll be working deeper on your angles in the workshop as well. So anyone who buys this program though, that workshop is included. So yeah, so that's a bit on that. Any other questions, comments? Anyone got a joke they want to share before we go? Any mummy jokes? We just had Mother's Day. Let's be nice to mothers again. Okay, any final comments, questions?
Thanks, Aldwyn.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Marty.
That's all
Just
good.
a big thank you. Fantastic. I feel really excited.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
thank
awesome.
you very much. It's a great
Thank you.
show.
Well, please stay connected. Please stay connected. If you're not ready now, I totally understand. If you want to have a chat one-on-one, we can do that. You know, wherever you're at, it's perfectly fine, but please stay connected one way or another. Come and join us at the Mass Media Tribe Facebook group. We're also on Meetup, Mass Media Tribe, and that's a place where you'll get lots of great free information to help you get your message out as well. Okay, and we do physical meetup events. Normally they're $10, $15 or so just to cover the venue. At the moment, they're all on Zoom and they're all for free at the moment, the Mass Media Tribe meetup. We had one recently called How to Present Powerful Videos with Dr. Chris Willems. That we've got the replay for that, and also for how to monetize your message with Melissa Groom. That is also up online at the moment. So if you want replays or you can't find it online, just let me know and I can get you some recordings of those. And then the next one this Thursday, and we'll have some giveaways at the end as well, 7 till 9 p.m. this Thursday night. So I'd love you to join me there. And we always do group photos on these Zooms, so be prepared. Be prepared, show your face. Julie, they're amazing. Thank you, Julie. Yeah, Julie's been on some of the events. Beautiful. Thank you, Julie. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to sign off now if there's nothing else in the chat. Anything else in the chat here? Somebody just have to walk away. Yes, sure, he would be in. Oh, yes, Julie's sending lots of love hearts. Thank you. Lots of love and virtual hugs to all of you. John, thank you for putting this together. Thank you. They're all amazing. Excellent. Thank you so much. Here's to you stepping up and stepping out with your message, shining bright, making the difference that only you are here to make. And here's to leaving a legacy with your media as well. Thank you so much for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure to spend some time with you today. And I really appreciate you being here. So stay connected. And for those that are joining the program, welcome. I look forward to working with you soon. All right. Bye for now. Have a beautiful weekend.
Bye-bye.
Aldwyn.
Bye.